Tim Parenton, head baseball coach, University of North Florida.
How did growing up in a big family in New Orleans positively affect you growing up?
Well, growing up in a big family, you had to learn how to share and do things at certain times because your parents were running all over. Everyone in our family played sports, so we were at different places at different times. So, it was a learning experience so that you weren't the only person getting everything. You had to share time, share food, share everything.
Yeah. Describe your decision process in choosing to play both football and baseball at Mississippi State.
Well, coming out of high school, I had the opportunity to play both of them, and at that time of the year, at that time, my family would only pay for us to go to high school because we went to all Catholic high school. And once you finished high school, you had to find your own way to go to college. So all my brothers and sisters had worked their way through college, and my chance to go to college was to play two sports and have them both paid for. If you played one sport, if you only played baseball, it was a partial scholarship, but if you played football, it was a full scholarship. And I really loved all four sports I played in high school, but when it came down to two, I picked baseball and football, and it worked out pretty well for me.
What upside do you feel multi-sport athletes have over those who only play one sport, and are you more apt to recruit well-rounded multi-sport athletes?
The upside is that they're well-rounded. That's the thing that we look for as athletes that can do different things. If you play one sport, it's one thing all the time, and you're working those same muscles the entire time. If you're doing multi-sports, it's running, it's agility, it's all the things that you're looking for in an athlete to try and persuade, especially in baseball. We want guys who can move around and do certain things. If you're a one sport guy, that's why you see more of the injuries now. They're wearing out the muscles that they're using just one all the same time. But a multi-sport guy does a lot of different things. We like to recruit multi-sport guys here because we want them to be able to move around. Some guys come in, I'm a shortstop. Well, somebody may be better. Can you move to another position? We want guys to be able to be versatile.
Yeah. How did your experience at Mississippi State enable you to enter your coaching career?
Well, I played for some great guys. Emory Billard in football, who invented the wishbone way back when he was at Texas, and gave me a lot of insight on coaching part of it. And then I played for Ron Polk, who's in the Hall. Both coaches are in the Hall of Fame, one football, now in baseball. And he gave me the opportunity to learn baseball because I wasn't a starter in either sport. I was a backup player, but I played in every game in football and baseball. I was a late in and pinch hitter replacement on defense. So I got to watch games and listen to them in the dugout the whole time.
What were your goals early on in your coaching career, and what steps did you take in your attempt to achieve them?
Well, my early goals was to be a football coach. I coached football at Mississippi State for 3 years. 1 year was defensive back coach. The next year was quarterbacks and kickers. And then the football game to me was the hours were real long. The sport, to be a winner, certain things you had to do, it wasn't, the recruiting part of it was really bad. But I always stayed in baseball by working summer camps. And our assistant coach, Pat McMahon, told me when he got his first head coaching job, he wanted me to be his assistant. And I held on long enough to be assistant at Old Dominion, and I learned a lot from that, and I loved the game of baseball.
Describe the differences and similarities of coaching at the high school level, college level, and professional levels.
At the high school level, you're trying to, I feel that your parents are really still their upbringers of them. It should be the parent who has to discipline the person and all. As far as the baseball part of it, you still have to practice every day and do the right things. But as far as being a parent, you're not a parent in the high school level. You're teaching them some of his motivational goals and things like that, but if a person does something wrong, the parent has to take care of it. When you move into the college level, we as coaches have to be on top of them a little more off the field stuff. Baseball's still the same. You got to take your ground balls, you got to hit, you got to do your workouts in the weight room and all that stuff. And the guys who don't do it fall on the wayside. And off the field issues, you have to handle that a little more in the college level. In pro level, it's all about baseball. It's baseball from start to finish. I don't have to deal with any of the punishments or any of that stuff. That all comes from above.
What coaching job that you've held helped enable you most to advance?
Probably my job at Old Dominion when I first started out in the 90s. It was two coaches, myself and a guy by the name of Pat McMahon, who now works for the New York Yankees. We were together for 17 years, on and off at different schools over the last 30 years. But it was really a great place. I moved from the South. You don't call Virginia the North, but I got married. 3 weeks later, I moved up there, and it was just two of us in a Division I program. And we won some championships, had some Division I All-Americans, had some guys play professional baseball from there. So it was a great experience.
What were some of your mentors in sports?
My mentors are Pat McMahon, like I talked about, Ron Polk, Emery Ballard. You know, as a player, you always emulate guys, and I was more like a Terry Bradshaw, ran around a lot, quarterback wise, baseball wise. I love the Big Red Machine. Most of you guys won't know any of those names, but the Oakland A's in those days were guys you just watched, and that's who you wanted to play like. The guys who were winning championships.
Is there one player that you recruited and knew was going to be a star that either went pro out of high school or signed with another team? If so, who?
Kevin Gibbs, a kid up at Old Dominion who was an inner city basketball player, believe it or not, in New York City. I mean, in Washington, D.C., played at St. John's Prep. And I knew he had all the skills, but he was not really a skilled baseball player. He was a really good basketball player, but we recruited him at Old Dominion and made him a pretty good baseball player. And he became a first-round draft choice with the Dodgers, led the league in stolen bases all the way through till he tore up his shoulders. Now he's a successful businessman in D.C. in real estate. So he was one person who you knew who just had that it factor that could do it either on the field or off the field, and he is doing it all around with a great family.
And what current baseball players do you most admire?
The current baseball player I admire the most right now is Evan Longoria, because I was with the Tampa Bay Rays for 3 years and I saw his work ethic every day when he came to the ballpark. One of the things when you're working in the minor leagues, you do get to be around the big league guys some in spring training, and I got to go on a couple of road trips with the big league club a couple of years ago and watch how his work ethic on and off the field just continued to be the best.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Hey, y'all have a great one.
Thank you.